What's up, creators, creatrixes, and other conceptual creatures? I'm Wicked, and I'm back. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I slipped into a pocket dimension, and it took me a while to find my way back. And we'll get into the details of my journey back to this in a moment, but before we begin, please make sure to like and subscribe so that I can help you keep your third eye in the sky. What was supposed to be just a 1 week break so that I could go many, many states away and pick up this handsome fellow turned into, God, what has it been? More than 6 months. And that is due to the constant chaoses of life. I brought home this new puppy. His name is King. And he took some acclimating, but by now he's all settled in. It was just kind of a long process. I was also going through a lot of stuff in my personal life. The bar that my partner and I own is still going through some remodels. They were supposed to be done by the end of April, and they are still ongoing. So that put a wrench into our entire life. On top of that, I also moved. So welcome to my new Wicked Den. It is actually just a temporary spot for me to work until we remodel our attic upstairs, which I am terribly, terribly excited about because this room is very, very tiny. And it took some serious effort and finesse to cram all of my stuff in here in a way that was still workable. And I'm still kind of trying to figure out how I want to film in this room. But for now, welcome to my bookshelf and all of my utilities and decorations. At this point in time, I don't really have space to just display too many things, so everything is functional. Which is good, because being in a small space like this is forcing me to be as organized as I possibly can be, but also a little stressful because I feel like I need more room to expand. So in the future, when I get upstairs, it's gonna just make everything better for me spiritually and mentally. So that's very exciting. In the move and getting the house ready for us to be here, that took a large chunk of time, as well as flipping my old property and getting that ready to sell. That is actually still an ongoing process as well. But I just couldn't wait any longer to get back to this because I miss doing this and I miss our wonderful community. I also had a very heartbreaking passing occur in April. My dog of 11 years passed away. And I know everybody says their dog is their best friend, they're like their child, and I can really, really relate to that because little buddy, this handsome fellow here, was the light of my life. He was my firstborn child. I was with him the moment he was born all the way until he made his exit from this world. And he was sick for a while, so I knew it was coming, but it just didn't make it any easier. It still weighs on me very heavily. He was with me through so much. Oftentimes when people recall the first dogs that really, or pets of any kind, that really touched their spirit, it's the childhood one. But I don't feel like anybody is talking enough about the dog or other animal friend that you have in your 20s, because it's just such a different experience. The responsibility really is all on you with that creature as well as your life. And I think our 20s are some of our most transformative times for many of us because we are meeting ourselves at this new level. We are figuring out how to become an adult, the type of life that we want to lead, all of that good, very stressful stuff. And little buddy was with me throughout all of that. He was also there with me when I had my daughter. I had a home birth, and so he was with me every step of the way, in the room, silently, just protecting and watching. He was a very empathetic, very caring creature. He was gentle, graceful. You could just feel the love within him, and it's been rough to have to go on without him, without this wonderful soul that really became my rock through some of the hardest times of my life. And when we got King, he wasn't intended to be a replacement. He could never. His paws might be bigger, as he's a bigger breed of dog, but he'll still have to work very, very hard to fill the shoes that little buddy left behind. And while he can never replace little buddy, I am so grateful for his presence. He's over there watching me right now, and thankful that we found each other. He was very much worth the, I don't even know, it was well over 1,000-mile journey that we took to go get him, and I'm so glad that we did it. It was just kind of one of those things, I've had a lot of people tease me for going that far, like, you can't find a good dog in this state, and while I'm sure that I could have, sometimes you just know, you can feel a connection even through a photo. And while I could have likely found another black German Shepherd in this state, it had to be him. Everything lined up perfectly, from the off time that my partner and I had to make the trip, to the money coming in exactly when it needed to, and to him being the only one from his litter that was still available. So I actually got him, he was almost 2 months old. That's not right. 3 or 4. He was almost 3 or 4 months old. And me personally, I've had a lot of dogs in my life. I've worked with a lot of dogs in many different ways. And for me personally, I really like to get them around 6 weeks, because I think that is the best time that you can really instill that bonding. However, it just had to be King, and it turns out that the day-long drive back in the truck, where he spent the entire time on my lap, was enough bonding to really almost make up for those couple of months that we lost. And while we're thick as thieves now, it's still hard to open your heart up to a new creature after you lose what I firmly believe was the best dog to ever walk this earth. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that in speaking of the soul. When you lose something that your heart is very attached to, regardless of what it is, it's hard to open your heart again. And after we go through traumatic events like losing someone or something that we love very, very much, it does close up our heart chakra. So it took quite a few months for me to even be able to tap back in. I really felt that my Kundalini was locked way down deep and just didn't want to rise. So I spent a lot of time working on myself, rebuilding my spirit and my energy, and it was just something that I needed to do. I needed to reconnect with the world around me as this different, changed person after going through this loss. And to do that, I had to do it alone, so to speak, outside of this community. Not because you aren't some of the most supportive and wonderful people that I've ever met, but because, in truth, I'm very much a solitary creature. I am one of those people who absolutely loves to be alone. I love my own company, I love my time to myself, and while I love my family greatly, it's just kind of how I was brought up. I'm an only child. My parents were wonderful, but they worked a lot. They were very busy. And that's probably how I got so bonded to dogs at the time, because they were really the only ones that were ever around. And I've learned to connect with animals so much better than I can even to this day with people. And so I kind of had to take that time to myself, focus in on me, heal myself, reconnect with my world before I could get back into this. And I've actually been working on a lot of behind the scenes stuff for the last couple of months, and just kind of needed my well to refill before I could come back and do this with all of you. I have been working on my website and finally able to get everything on, well, not everything. I don't think this is the type of process where I just truly will never get it done. There's just too much information I want to incorporate. And through putting that information up, I'm also learning new things and expanding my own consciousness, which just creates more things that I want to add. So it's an ongoing process that likely will never be done, but I have finally gotten it to a level where I feel like it's generating some really solid momentum, and I'm extremely pleased with the way things are coming together because it's finally starting to look like a virtual grimoire. And for those of you who don't know, this entire brand was started with that website, with that idea, and it was all because I love writing. I really do. Too much, in fact. I want to write everything down. I am a collector of words and beautiful phrases, and because of that, making my own physical grimoire became a very tiresome process. My hands are actually not what they should be due to the years of writing and the nerve damage that I have accumulated in all of that scripting that I've been doing. And so I put all of this work into a physical grimoire, and then I would get irritated because it's quite large. So it's not something that I could carry with me. And the irritation came from being out in the world, out of my wicked den, my comfort zone, my happy place, and not having access to those things. And so I decided I would start taking notes on my phone. And this was during the time when technology was not as advanced as it is now, so that became quite a tedious process in itself. It was hard to organize and keep track of. And I've come a lot further with that, so has technology. But then I kind of realized that it would just be easier to put it into a website. And at that point in my life, I had a lot of people coming to me for advice on matters of the craft and spirituality, and it was just easier for me to imagine being able to direct them to this hub where they could have access to all of my knowledge without me having to monopolize their time or give up my time, because time is our most valuable resource. And it's not that I'm opposed to connecting and helping others on this journey. Of course, that's why I do what I do. But when you're doing it with everyone individually and you end up repeating the same things over and over and over, it's tiresome, and it put a halt to my own expansion in a lot of ways because I needed to evolve past all of these things that I had learned, and it was hard to do so when those around me were unintentionally keeping me stuck at the same level. So I had the idea to create the website, and I love doing that. I actually think that is one of my favorite things to do, is work on that website, because I get to write. But I learned very quickly that we live in a 3-second world. People aren't taking the time to read things like they used to. And while there are many, many people who are keeping printed word alive, thank you very much for that, there's just an even larger amount of people who prefer content like this. Even now, long-form videos are not keeping people's attention because we have trained ourselves to process and crave information in small bites. So knowing all of this, I realized that I had to get my face in front of the camera, adapt to survive, right? And I have definitely gotten a lot better at this, and I'm a lot more confident in front of the camera, but it's still not my favorite thing to do. And I'm working with that, and I'm getting better, but I will forever be a writer, and that will forever be my favorite medium. So anyways, that's kind of the story of why all of this even exists. And I'm so glad to be back to it. But in my time off, I made great strides with the foundation of all of this, which is the website. And a lot of that is still undergoing some deep transformation. I am finishing up a lot of sections, but very, very soon they will be made public. And I'll let you guys know when, because this is essentially a virtual grimoire for any and all of you to comb through, absolutely free. I am all about free knowledge, because I don't think we can expand without it. Learning shouldn't be something that you have to pay for with currency. You already put enough into it with your time and your energy. That is a high enough price to pay to learn all of this sacred knowledge about the universe. Now, with all of that being said, the website is still just one facet of my entire brand, and I'm really glad to be taking that to its next level, but I've also been working on a lot of other things. Probably too many, but I like to overwhelm myself. I guess. I've been creating prototypes for a lot of new products, which I'm really excited to share with you once they get to their finished stage. I've been playing with the idea of creating some spell boxes, and I've also been growing my own herbs because I want to be able to create or offer all of the essentials that you are going to need for each spell. So someday in the very near future, when you go to the Wicked Witch's web and you click on the virtual grimoire and get into the spellbook section, not only will you have all of the details you need from tools, incantation to ritual, you will also have access to links getting you the supplies that you might be lacking for said ritual. I, in the meantime, will also be setting up an Amazon affiliate so that you can just order some of those things directly for the things that I can't make myself, like crystals. But I'd like to source as much as I possibly can from myself because I feel that it is going to be better for the outcomes of your spells to have as much of the product blessed and grown naturally. It just feels like the way to go for me. Now, of course, if you choose to take part in any of these spells or rituals, you can source your ingredients however you like, but I love the idea of being able to offer everything to you in one place to make this as seamless as a process as possible. In other news, I have a lot of great ideas for content. Throughout this process where I kind of went on a journey through my own underworld, I was reconnected with Hecate in a much deeper way. She has always been my absolute favorite deity, and in recent months I have felt her call a lot stronger than ever before, finally kind of bringing me back to my own craft as I began healing my heart, soul, and mind. And I think within the next week or two, I am going to be releasing a series all about Hecate, her origins, her keys. Each one is unique in its own way. They open different thresholds to different dimensions, and how you can ask her for those keys, the process you have to go through in order for them to be given to you, and then how you can use them, as well as other ways to honor this goddess, and basically just the entire 411 on everything to do with her as she has been revealing it to me over these last few months. Because some of this is new information even to me. As I've been channeling her and working with her, I am learning wonderful new things that I would like to be common knowledge amongst us practitioners. I will continue to do daily shorts. I will also continue to do the informational videos. Later this week on Wednesday, we are going to have emotional intelligence in the craft and why it is so important to be in control of your energy as a witch. And I'm really, really excited for that one. And I think after that, we're probably going to roll into some of the other deities as well, so that if Hecate doesn't call to you specifically, you can get to know the pantheon on a deeper level and kind of decide how you want your craft to work. So if that interests you, make sure you check in, stay in touch with what we're doing and which god or goddess we will be learning about next. This is something I'm very excited about because it's kind of, I don't want to say a point of pride, rather a point of me overcoming my pride, because for a long time in my craft, I was very sovereign, very independent, wanted to work with the universe, but did not want to tap into any deities. This is when I was much younger and very, very headstrong. It may be important for you to know that I am born of Virgo Sun and Capricorn Moon, so I had to evolve those traits in myself to even begin to learn how to ask for help from anyone, including unseen energies. And that took me a really long time, but when I finally connected with Hecate, it really changed everything for me. I was able to learn that it's okay to ask for help, especially in your darkest moments, and that opened the doors to connecting with the collective consciousness, which was a very important step to me getting to this point in my journey. So in order for me to do an entire section, an entire series about deities is a sign of my own personal growth, and that is really satisfying for me. But I will also be diving into some brand new topics that don't necessarily relate to deities, but to yourself as a witch, how you can incorporate the craft into everyday life, different aspects of the craft. All in all, I'm very excited to dive into all of this stuff, and I think I will be releasing a herbal series where we get to know one of the herbs every week or so. It's still a little freeform at this time, but as much as I would love to get myself into a stable, consistent schedule and tell you everything that we're going to be doing for the next year, I have to follow my divine inspiration, whether I want to or not. That is one of the biggest challenges of my life. My conscious human mind wants very much to have structure and order and neatness and organization and everything, and my spirit calls for constant fluidity. And I'm learning how to balance those two things so that I can use both of them effectively to get this job done and to help all of you out along your journey. I think I'm gonna leave all of this at that for now, because in all honesty, I'm really excited about all the things that we're doing, and I'm ready to get on to the next thing. So I just want to say thank you to this wonderful community that we've built. I, once again, am so sorry that I was gone for so long, but I hope that you can trust that it was absolutely necessary in order for me to give you the absolute best of myself. So thank you very much for staying with me, and I'm really excited for all that we are going to accomplish and learn together in the future. All right, thanks for checking in. It's been so wonderful to see all of you again, and I can't wait to see you in the future. Make sure to like and subscribe so that I can help you keep your third eye in the sky. Stay blessed.